And welcome in, Smite fans, to Reap Smite League Season 5. You are joining us in Week 1 of the RSL, and we are going to be watching the famed matchup. I guess I can't call it famed here quite yet. We're only in Week 1, but I'm excited for it. Cursed Cowboys versus Monkey Business. I'm joined by Killjoy here on the cast. My name's Frog as well. KJ, how you doing?
I'm good, doing good, Frog. I'm excited for this matchup too. A lot of big names on these two teams. Really good draft session by both of them for that preseason draft here. Lucio and Slime picked up a lot of good players right around them as well, and it should be a really fun matchup.
Well, as you finish that statement, we're jumping right into picks and bans. Now, I'm told by yourself, you were bragging to me a little bit about this before the cast. You know quite a few of these players, their comfort picks, their ins and outs. So I'll put all the pressure on you here. I mean, what are you expecting out of these picks and bans? Something that might be spicier or otherwise than typical? Because so far we see some typical bans coming out, I would say.
Oh, Frog. You don't know any of these players. I look at. Let me just start with Cursed Cowboys. I see Rose there, which tells me there's probably one of four gods that'll be played this game. He'd probably lock in a Freya, could potentially lock in a Soul, an Izanami, maybe a Medusa, somewhere along those lines. Gods he likes to play a lot. Lucio, I mean, the man gets Mulan, he's gonna probably play it. Skills in the mid lane, he has some very niche picks, and I don't want to spoil them too much here for you because I think you'll get a kick out of some of them. I mean, Camazotz is obviously playing Kama support. Appreciate that one later on. But on the other side of things, I mean, Slime, Nick, Gumbo, really good teams. Osiris being the first locked in. I would imagine this is going to go to solo for Gumbo. I'm not sure if Slime is 100% comfortable on this pick.
Well, we have seen that Osiris flexed in both the jungle and solo role, but you're absolutely right. Comfort is king, especially in a league of this caliber. So I would expect Osiris to be going towards the solo lane as well, if that's where you're feeling. We do see some pretty standard bans come out of both teams, Artio and Odin, as well as Persephone coming out from Monkey Business, Gilgamesh, Tiamat, Artemis coming out from Cursed Cowboys. One thing that does catch my eye off the bat is that Persephone ban. Not something that we maybe are seeing in all of our games here, but she was just recently entered back into the meta. But we'll hold off talking about bans here as we do see that Izanami you mentioned earlier joined by the Cerberus. Now the Cerberus could go support, could go solo. Either way here. Do you expect this to be the dual lane?
I don't think it's 100% the dual lane yet. I think this could be a Lucio pick. Cerberus, one of the really good solo laners right now, near the top end, probably top three at this point in time. So, and Lucio plays support as well. So, putting a Guardian in his hands, it's going to be like just riding a bicycle. He's going to pick it up, probably go out, probably get a 5-man Cerberus assault. It'll be completely fine. Izanami 100% going to Rose. Very, very standard. On the other side of things, though, for Monkey Business with this Hell Hover, I know Nick does like to play this pick quite a bit as well. This is something that could be really, really good and valuable for this team. But again, it could also go to the solo lane. Gumbo could still play it. Hell Solo, we've seen a little bit of as well.
Absolutely. As you mentioned, that's actually where Hell came out into the meta, I think, initially, was in that solo lane before she moved over to that mid lane. But we do see that Hell lock in as well as the Heimdallr. The Hell speaks volumes to me, specifically against the Cerberus. That cleanse is going to come up huge, especially against that Cerberus ultimate. And I think it does a lot to dissuade some future heavy CC picks from the side of Cursed Cowboys. Do you think that that might impact their draft going forward, or what do you think they might be looking for?
It can and it can't. I think if Cursed Cowboys still wanted to pick up something like a Jing Shen, they could pick it up. Mulan, they could as well pick this up. I mean, if Hell cleanses a 5-man Cerebral and then you immediately Mulan straight through them and knock everybody up, they don't have that cleanse for that if you time the CC timers right. So it can be really good if you lock down another high CC guy. Maybe you pick something really CC heavy like an Ernalong into the jungle. They can't really cleanse a 3-man taunt if they've already cleansed the Cerberus 2 seconds earlier. It's like you got to play around those cooldowns. Again, I mean, we said it earlier. Mulan's going in the hands of Lucio. It's kind of just a give you take.
Absolutely. Comfort pick for him, and we see the bands fire out fast here. Two Guardians from the side of Cursed Cowboys, Sobek and Ganesh, and two Mages from the side of Monkey Business. Morgan Le Fay making it through the entire first pick and ban phase, as well as Raijin, both contested picks recently in the recent SPL playoffs. So kind of surprised to see them a little bit later in the banning phase, and a little bit surprised as well to see the two picks that they're putting down towards the bottom, specifically for Cursed Cowboys. And I love your thoughts on this because it feels to me like maybe Cerberus and Mulan aren't necessarily top five or S tier gods as you might, sort of establish them as. And so I'm a little bit surprised that they prioritized, especially the Mulan, in that top three contention as opposed to going for one of these more contested mages as they do pick up the set here.
The thing with the Cursed Cowboys team is they're not ever gonna play a meta set. To be fair, I mean the Cerberus is probably their most meta god right now, and he's not even going to his meta role currently, which is the solo lane. He's gonna go to that support role. Mulan go to solo lane. Set being picked up for Sneaky Dream in the jungle. I think this could be a really good pick. I've seen Sneaky Dream play a little bit. He's played a lot more of the tankier junglers, and I don't think he's looked incredibly well on them from other leagues that he's played in. High burst assassins such as Set, I think he's going to look really, really good on, so I'm excited to see him play. I wouldn't be surprised to see skills go into something like a Nox. It's something he likes to play, maybe even a Baba Yaga coming around, another high damage ability guy, but I think the Nox would flow really well with this team comp. You want to lock it down after Cerberus brings it to you, let your Izanami free cast on it. I think this team is really going to build around Rose and skills doing damage together.
That's a very exciting quote for me. My analyst recommending the Nox pick. So we'll see if that comes out from Cursed Cowboys. But we do get the final two picks in from Monkey Business. This Serket and Athena. Now, still, I think we're questioning where this Osiris is going to go and where this Serket's going to go, and potentially where the Athena is going to go. It feels like at times all three of these gods, well, specifically the final two, have flexed into three roles, and Osiris flexes into two. And we can talk about this Thoth as well. Not a very popular picked god, struggles with safety, especially in the mid lane against this high CC Serket Athena combo. Might not do well there. I mean, pick your poison here, Killjoy. I mean, there's a lot to talk about.
There's so much to talk about. I think I want to start with the comp that Monkey Business put together. Serket, to me, this is most likely going to the jungle for Slime. Osiris probably going to the solo lane. Athena will be in the support role, most likely, if I had to take a guess. And I really like what they put together. Really good lockdown. Osiris, the chase that they have, a little bit of the dive as well. Really, really good. Heim's safe from their own dive, can dive really well alongside a Hell. You can peel for her very, very well, which is what this team comp is kind of basing themselves around of, is just playing through this Hell damage. Whereas the other side for Cursed Cowboys is Nami, Cerberus, Mulan, Set, Thoth. I also really like this draft because of the players that are playing these picks. Not really the picks themselves, it's just who has their hands on them. Rose on Izanami, Staples levels time. I think he's played that every single season that he's been in the Reap Smite League, which I believe is 5 now because we're in the 5th season. He's going to play that. Sneaky Dream on Set, I think Snet's really good for the dive. I think Camazot's playing Cerberus looks really, really good. That ultimate Stygian Torment right into the Final Judgment might be their biggest combo that they're looking for. Skills play in this Thoth. It's another one of the picks that he really likes. I was really hoping he was gonna go for the Nox, but once you see the Thoth, everyone that knows skills like, oh yeah, that's definitely what they're gonna click in there. So I really like what they put together. It's good lockdown to set up for skills on this ult. So as long as skills is hitting his abilities, he'll also be relatively safe in this mid lane. He can poke this Hell from a range, which is I mean, she's a shotgun character a lot of times. You're gonna run up and just burst somebody down. He's able to keep his distance.
Absolutely. I do like your call there on the lack of meta from Cursed Cowboys, but it fits into their comfort side really, really well. I am a little bit concerned. You mentioned the Cerberus ult bringing some solid setup for that Thoth ultimate, but that seems to me to be the really only solid setup. Izanami, Set, both lacking any push or disruption CC physical movement, right? They both have slows. Mulan has that root and only the knockup straight up into the air, but really no method of, other than that ultimate herself of keeping enemies in place. And certainly a lot of movement, especially from the Serket, the Heimdallr getting out of there very easily, in the Hell avoiding the CC. There is quite a bit to avoid that ultimate as well, but we are ready to go into the game here, so let's jump right in. I'm really excited to see how this one starts off. It looks like you are right on target with those roll predictions, Killjoy. So props to you on that. And we will see a pretty standard start. Cerberus blink to lane here. And taking a look at the builds here, is there anything you see that catches your eye just right off the bat?
Yes and no. I think there's some very interesting builds that they have. Mana pots on an ADC, I think it's very, very odd. Sovereignty, though, on the Athena, I really like. I think it's a really nice early game spike if you want to be rotating around very, very quickly. Being able to get your early defensive spike online, runs over to mid lane, you guys start fighting right there, or just kind of gank wherever you are Athena. So getting value at level 5 is really important. You're not really having to stack those Thebes. So that'll help them out quite a bit. Something that I do want to point out is the relics that all the players have used. I was really hoping Cursed Cowboys were going to lock 5 beads because of the amount of CC that Monkey Business has on their team, and especially because they're such a high dive comp, it's going to be very, very difficult for Cursed Cowboys to peel them. Because you're right, Staging Tournament is ideally their only peel right now in the backline. Sure, Lucio has the conditional stun if he hits the 3. Same thing with Camazotz if he hits the 1. It's also very, very conditional for them. But other than that, they don't have a lot of good hard CC. Sure, they have a root, silence, a slow, but nothing really hard that can lock them down, stun them out, and pull them out of the fight. So I'm very surprised to do that. The blink into lane is also very odd to me. Sure, it's a strategy, but you're going against a Heimdall who's already going to be at the lane early just because you start that 3 early game. You get to purple earlier, you get to lane earlier. It makes it much easier for them to get there. And then Athena with a sprint. No one has Bracer in this game, first of all, Frog, and that makes me sad.
Yeah, I tend to agree. That relic seeing a lot of usage here. We did see a quick pause there, but followed up immediately by some action. Good taunt to get some poke off on Rose there. You mentioned her having a lot of success on the Izanami in the past, and this god is known to bring the lane pressure. I mean, you can fire right through those minions and hold that thought. Solo kill coming out early onto the Lucio. I was going to comment on that teleport that he picked up, but it looks like it might do him some good earlier on than he expected.
Yeah, I was gonna point it out too and be like, look, the teleport, not something that you want to see. Again, bees would have been really good, but you get pressured out early. Hey man, I'm coming right back to lane. Nice little bit of safety in a sense for him to be able to get back to lane and get all that. Another really good taunt here from Danger. They're really playing this early aggression, and you're right, Rose. He does have a lot of really good success on this pick. He's had it before. It's won him championships. It's won him playoff games. It just looks really good the majority of the time. The times it doesn't look good is when there's a lot of CC because Izanami struggles with CC.
Yeah, no, and that comp definitely fits that description here. Both Serket and Athena known for their high levels of CC and sometimes their escapability, right? Both having dashes, Athena having that global pressure as well. Dashing in here, getting another 2-man taunt. Izanami knocked up, but able to dash away. Just getting some consistent poke over here in the dual lane, and I suspect that is what wins them the pressure in this lane. I mean, if they were just clearing, I would fully expect Izanami and Cerberus to have that lane advantage, but good job from Monkey Business to continue putting that pressure not only on the minion wave, but also on the health bars of the side of Cursed Cowboys. But it looks like Set maybe trying to get a gank off, and we saw Serket over here a little bit earlier, neither of them able to have any success.
Another thing I want to point out too, I was just glancing down at builds, and it just kind of threw me off there for a second. Lucian started Mask off that back because he had it. Now he's getting ganked again. Definitely dead here. Good gang from Slime. Good play from Gumbo. Man was not getting out of that one. He has T1 Mask started. He's trying to get into that Fighter's Mask. He does finally get into it. Going Sundering Axe into Mask feels odd. Like, you just want to start Mask and then go into the Axe. It's a much more smoother transition. The power spike feels better. A little bit more survivability because, you know, if he had Fighter's Mask, maybe that first wave goes differently. You are Mulan.
No, I tend to agree. It definitely looked like he wasn't on the same page inside of his own build. He went that teleport so he could get back to lane and maybe back a little bit earlier, trying to get that item online. But then he went 6 or 7 health pots, so that indicates he wants to stay out longer. So those are kind of conflicting ideas. Regardless, he's sent back to base 2 times unwillingly, and does end up with that Rangda's mask at the end of the day. One thing we haven't gotten a chance to talk about quite yet is this mid lane matchup. And contrary to some games we've seen in the past, almost no focus towards this mid lane from the junglers as of yet. I think we saw them here for the mid camps, but other than that, it's just sort of been poked back and forth between this Hell and this Thoth. It looks like Hell is actually pushing up onto the Thoth right now in mid lane, forcing him to dash under tower very low. So she comes out on the positive side of that trade. But hold that thought, Cerberus getting a double ultimate in the duo lane. Serket is here as well to try and trade that out. Both ADCs falling off the bat, and it looks like Athena will fall as well. Set trying to pick up the double kill right here. Serket forced into the ultimate, but able to escape under the tower, and now Nick is on his way. Hell starting with the damage, getting the burst off on both members of the enemy team, but able to dash away. Both of them at low health bar is able to dash away for safety. That blink comes up for Cerberus just at the right time. Very, very back and forth fight there, and Monkey Business end up a little bit ahead, but it was started by Cursed Cowboys, so I'm not sure how they feel about that.
Really good aggression to start that off in mid. Nick getting a lot of pressure onto skills, forcing him back under tower, which allowed him to rotate a little bit later on. Great double Stygian Torment from Camazotz. Rose finding a really good ult on top of it as well. Really just brought them both really, really well. But Slime got in there and pulled 2 sets of beads, which is very, very valuable already. Sure, he got a kill as well on top of Rose, but he pulled the ADC's beads. That makes Matnar's job even easier. You're Heimdall. You can just walk up and ult him now. He has no way to CC any immunity, no ult, nothing. He can't do anything, basically. So this Heim, I would not be surprised if he looks for a solo kill here a little bit earlier on in the game. He has the chance to. And then again, Athena just falling early. Not too upset about it. She's always going to have a taunt. So I think they're in a good spot. Really good play for Monkey Business as well as Cursed Cowboys.
No, absolutely. And we do see some action over here
below.
towards the blue buff. Lucio try to steal that one away and does do quite a bit of damage to Gumbo. Looks like he's bounced back relatively well from those 2 early deaths, although still a level behind his counterpart. But I do agree. The Heim, Delir ultimate, especially against the Izanami, in addition to any of the rotations that can come out, that Athena taunt on a gank, the Serket taunt on a gank, both crippling to Izanami if she were to be caught out of position here. But we do see Set pathing through the enemy jungle right now. I wonder if he's going to come behind in this mid lane. Looks like he's actually just looking for that red invade, so we'll hold off on any further action for right now as we just see some enemies tangoing in the mid lane, and these people are too scared to engage without all of those ultimates online. And it looks like Cerb Ultimate has now come back up, but we see the Heim Delir Ultimate first. Into Niflheim goes Izanami, but Heim lacking on the follow-up, able to dash, and it looks like Gumbo will get a solo kill, and Heim will survive as well. Kills across the map, or at least action across the map, as we see Heim escape, take advantage of those beads, but not able to capitalize on the solo kill, while Gumbo is.
Very, very odd play from the Heimdall. He could have stayed around, hit at least another auto on it. Could have saved his big auto for when Izanami landed as well. He had the Bifrost up. You can TP out right away. I'm not sure his 1 was quite up, but if it was, he definitely kills Izzy when she lands. Rose is dead there every day of the week. If he has his 1 up, he hits the big auto at the same time the 1 comes crashing down. He dies. You drop your Bifrost. You dip, you get out of dodge, and you're fine. You don't have to worry about anything. Athena ulting over there. A little bit of extra safety, really, really nice, because then if Sneaky does go in, you got an Athena there, you're doing a lot of damage. Gumbo now playing really, really high up, and Camera really wanted to get him.
Good ultimate from the Osiris. Guess that wasn't forced out for the solo kill. And that just goes to show to me how much pressure Lucio Horta has been under over here in the solo lane. After those 2 ganks early, it seems that he has just been having a rough time in this lane. I know we saw him at that blue buff one time ago, but and Gumbo was a little bit low. I'm not sure what led to that event, but it looks like he's just been kind of getting clocked over here in the solo lane, for lack of a better word. I'm interested to see if that's going to impact them as the solo laners start to rotate towards some of these mid-game fights.
Red Danger being over here, now having the Thebes done is something to talk a little bit about earlier on. He's got that power spike when he starts rotating. He's a little bit tankier to any of the physical damage he'll be taking. And there's 3 heavy-hitting physical characters on the side of Cursed Cowboys. Set and Izzy already doing just loads of damage by themselves, so the Sovereignty is really going to help with this dive that the Set and Izzy will have together. As weird as it sounds, Izzy will probably dive at one point in these team fights and try to find that kill just off the playstyles of these players. So I really like Athena build path. And the other thing I want to talk about too is both hunters are already into the Light Blade, not going Odysseus' bow second. With the patch, build changes have changed a little bit. If this is an Odyssey that both these players are going into, I don't really like it. It's Gumbo trying for the up-down with the Athena.
He does miss the overhead smash, but it looks like he will try and re-engage on this. Lucio getting low, stunned out, and
Tether.
secured by Red Danger onto the kill there. Good Athena ultimate bringing him over to that lane, helping us save the Osiris, but they're going to do Smite 101, trade the Gold Fury here, at least try to. Thoth has to secure over the hell, but she is on the way. Sneaky getting low, tanks the Gold Fury for too long, and Cerberus into Niflheim he goes, landing on the Gold Fury pit. Heim ready to follow up, and he's almost able to, but now he gets killed by the Gold Fury. Disaster for both teams as hell. Falling low, we'll see if Thoth is able to commit on this, waiting for cooldowns now, looking for some poke. Rose trying to come out the backline, but looks like this will just be a wash unless Serket has found her way into a sneaky position here. She's behind Izanami now in the dual lane, so we may see a fight here soon, but we see one earlier on in the mid lane. Nick, another instance of that huge damage coming out from him. He will get another kill on the board there, but man, the Gold Fury feels like the MVP of that fight.
Oh, 100%. The man did so much damage. He probably did more damage than every single player on both of these teams in that. Literally got a kill. Matnar falls to the Gold Fury, which was just very odd positioning for me. You got the Heim out. You see where he's going to land. You don't need to step into the gold pit, as well as you don't need to use your 2 there. Just throw 2 autos and he's probably dead, which is just very odd. Nick doing a lot of damage. Really good timing for him just to walk in and absolutely blow up where was standing on that Gold Fury pit. Pretty free on that at that point, especially early game where those protections aren't very strong. That Gold Fury is swinging pretty early on, and the team wasn't having enough damage. Really good play by him. Both ADCs didn't rotate into that early on, which was very odd to me, so they were trying to do a Gold Fury without their ADC damage. Again, that just is a little questionable to me.
Yeah, they do start that up, which I think is the right idea in that scenario, but not able to confirm that objective. Luckily, neither team able to confirm that objective, at least lucky for Cursed Cowboys, as they don't get that stolen away from them. We do see a 2-level deficit here in the mid lane, as well as the solo lane, and a 3-level deficit here in the jungle. Serket been silently farming her way ahead of Sneaky Dream on the set here, so I think she'll have a pretty big advantage when it comes to damaging in these fights, but Athena taking a lot of poke, trying to secure those Oracle Harpies. Looks like a split for both teams, so neither one gets that vision guaranteed, but seems like that's the second Cursed Cowboys look towards this Gold Fury side of the map. They're absolutely going to want to get a fight going soon. What do you think the keys to the success here for Cursed Cowboys are in fighting around this Gold Fury from the deficit they're currently at?
Cowboys got to find a pick somewhere or have Rose rotate into a fight. Something that Rose is known to do is kind of sit in lane and farm his lane all the way down to the Phoenix line and really get as much of it as it can. Gold Fury is started up though, brought under half. Skills is local, so I'm just going to do his best to peel for him. It's really going to be the fight that they want to take here. They don't have the secure, so they're going to have to get it out. And skills
trying to dive on skills. He falls early. Kamazatz was taken, taunted back in as well. Able to jump out, but it looks like they still have the advantage. Gumbo rotated over from the solo lane, leaving Lucio to farm, so he might catch up in some of those levels, but it might not be worth it if the Gold Fury is lost. But don't forget about that teleport. Mulan now joining the fight. Pushed up is Osiris trying to catch out Rose. Didn't join the fight with her teammates, as you mentioned. It gets caught out for it, and now it might be Sneaky Dream in some trouble. Diving the tower is Gumbo. Will secure that kill as well. Heim forcing another member into Niflheim as Kamazatz is forced out before that, and it looks like Lucio just as fast to join the fight. He will fall, and Gold Fury will fall to Monkey Business.
Really good fight for Monkey Business. Got it really split up as well. They found the pick to start off, and then they just kind of kept chaining it along. They found Rose on his purple buff, which was really nice to look into. They caught Sneaky trying to help him back out on the other side of things. They're just playing their pick lockdown comp very well. We talked about earlier. Their dive is very good. Hell is very good at shotgunning characters, and she just ran right in there and just dropped through 3, and they were gone. Health bar, just, we can talk about it later. Just being able to split that up already. Lucio going back into the backside of things is very odd. You can't really die without your jungler. Your jungler's already dead at that point. I think you just have to give that gold for you at that point. It's worth to just trade that out and keep your life, especially where you're at right now. 0-4, falling to 0-5 after that death. better to just split up the map, try to find some farm, get yourself back into this game. 2 levels down, not feeling too good against a 4-0-3 Osiris, which is already a god that just does so much by himself. Getting him ahead, it's very hard to play into.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think he should have been farming over in that left or over in that right lane, maybe trying to gain back some levels on that lead. We will see Thoth engaged on here in the mid lane, but hell, not close enough to follow up. So nothing coming of that. But I mean, it looked to me in that fight by the Gold Fury that it was just so separated from Cursed Cowboys. As much as Monkey Business were together, especially both the solo and jungle, Gumbo and Slime diving together, looked really solid, and they might dive together again here on the right side. Lucio under attack yet again. 3 levels down at this point, might fall to 4 as Gumbo secures the kill onto Lucio. Camazot's coming over to try and think about helping, but he does not get a chance to save his solo laner's life there, and Gumbo just continues to gain this lead over his counterpart, as now it looks like the Pyromancer will be secured for the side of Monkey Business. Both objectives on their side.
Really good macro play for Monkey Business going to gank that right lane. Sure, it's like, okay, they're camping Lucio. They're playing the objective at that point. That's not really, oh, hey, let's go kill Lucio. It's a, hey, look, their solo laner stepped up. We kill him. We get Pyromancer for free. They don't show up here because then we just kill them because our ADCs are locked in a duel right now. And we just win a 3-on-4. Izanami did just get ulted right there when she lands. Matnar already took the worst end of that trade. It was probably going to be able to knock down this tower to almost negative health at this point, if not all of it, and he will go ahead and get all of it as Matnar just gave it up at that point, which is the right play. Still has 2 mana pots. I think you need to go back and sell those, my friend, and get your next item online. And Izzy's got Aussie, so she's going to out-trade him right now. I don't really like this build path. Depending on what they go into next, I assume they're probably going to go crit since they built Aussie, but I just feel like Aussie's in a really weird spot right now, especially with Cal just being so good and already giving so much lifesteal.
I tend to agree, and both of them going Cal as well, looking to maybe
Oh,
double down on that life steal. But Serket trying to finish off this kill and will onto Rose. You mentioned Rose being the Izanami main that she is, or he is, excuse me, looking for this dominance in the dual lane, and it looked like he had it. For a minute there, he had the advantage over Heimdallr. He had the level lead, and now he's a level down. All of a sudden, being ganked by Slime and one level gets that shift over to now 1 level behind. So from a bad spot to, or from a good spot, maybe now into a bad spot, it felt like she was maybe going to need to be the carry in some of these team fights as this game gets later, but maybe not able to do that as we do see her commit into the crit, as you mentioned.
something with Rose too is they can 1v1 really well. I mean, it was very clearly Rose is winning that 1v1 against Matnar the entire time unless Matnar had an alt advantage or a beads advantage on him, because Heim just generally will win that no matter who the character is. Same thing with one of the best reasons he's a good character playing to Artemis. If she doesn't have her alt and you have yours, you're kind of just going to win that trade, or she doesn't have beads, things like that. At that point is Slime just went over and then just mechanic diffed that. Like, he just went down in the crouch and just sat there. Rose came back like, hey, I'm going to fight you anyway. And Slime just up, down, and got the kill. Used the ult as well, but here's your cat with 40% cooldown. You're like, okay, cool. I'll use an ult over here, get a kill. It'll be back up by the time I want to really gank somewhere else. Just really good lockdown. Both these ADCs collectively are 0-5. Like, they've gotten to do nothing. They each have 3 assists, so it's like, hey, cool, we're doing something. But realistically, they're both just like, this game is so boring for us. We're just gonna fight each other in lane because there's nothing else for us to do.
Gumbo getting into a scrap with Lucio here yet again, trying to force the ultimate there, but it looks like they're going to try and force him out first. Sneaky coming over, making an appearance, and forcing the back from Gumbo, but you see the pings come out on the map. This Gold Fury being targeted by the side of Monkey Business. Looks like Osiris may back after this, but he's going to get into another fight first. Still a scrap going on, but looks like Izanami's a little bit pushed, and Nick is coming in behind. Forces the dash, but Camazotz might be in some trouble. Forced to jump away. This Gold Fury now flickering on the map. Nobody close except for Monkey Business. Both soul laners won't be a part of this fight unless some teleport gets upgraded, comes through, but Primal Fury may fall before that. Good taunt to keep Camazotz out, and this Primal Fury will get secured by Monkey Business. Great zoning from the side of Slime. Clean objective.
It was so beautiful by Slime, who had the taunt, was very patient with it, hit the first part, hit the second of it, kept Cameron from being able to step up, let him step up a little bit further, and then ulted him right when the secure was going to go down. there's no way a Kama can stop anything unless he has beads, and even then, if you're beadsing that, you're in a really bad spot because that means you're walking into a fight without beads, and all you have is your ult. You're probably just dead at that point. Really clean objective for Monkey Business. I liked it. As soon as it respawns, jump right on it. Looking back at these builds, something I want to talk about, and I talked about it earlier on with Sneaky Dream. I mentioned how he likes to go for some of these tankier builds, and I haven't seen him do very well on them. I'm like 75% sure this is about to be a Toxic Blade. I know it sounds really, really weird, but this is just how this player is. I don't think it's a very good item, especially with just where the item is at currently. I think he already has Brawlers. You don't need any more Toxic Blade. Now, if he was going a Winged Blade here, I don't completely hate it. It's not something I think that would be very good. I think he'd be better off just going more damage. He ends up going a Witchblade. I don't think
Or he
that's a
gets to
very good
finish
pick either.
that. So we get to
Fire is
start the
going.
Fire Giant. 4 members on it. Lucio does spot this out. Camazot's in the vicinity as well. Skill's going to charge up that ultimate if he has it. Trying to dash in and steal it. Won't get it turned away. But it looks like Red Dragon now on the run. Lucio pulling it back in. Trying to finish off these low members. Him and Camazot's dominating the backline. But Gumbo doing the same on the other side. Gets a kill for himself. And now Camazot's in some trouble of his own. Trying to hit the last basic will be Manatan. And he will secure that. Gumbo trying to get the double kill. Caught out a little bit low under this tower, but it might be Lucio pushing a little bit too far forward. Now with the whole time ultimate coming out and Red Danger finishing that off on the split pushing Rose. Didn't catch that towards the end, but luckily Athena was on top of it and just continuing the domination for the side of Monkey Business.
I didn't get to catch how much health Rose had, but you can't be dying to the support as an ADC if you're taking a Phoenix, man. You just got to back up, give it up. Athena being able to ult right back in. They get to run down this right side and trade this Phoenix out. They did keep up their Phoenix as well. Fire Giant went under the belts of Monkey Business. They did get that secure. Very good job, and took the fight after, and they want to keep going.
They want to keep going indeed. Osiris in, but Red Danger secures the first kill. Camazot's forced to jump away, and Gumbo continuing that poke, but now it's a 4 versus 2. One spawning in just a few seconds here. Rose will be back up as well as Lucio. They're going to try to end regardless, though. Titan not falling as fast as Sneaky, but it looks like Gumbo's in trouble as well. Nick still half health, and Reckless on the way out with Slime. Both low health trying to escape here, and it looks like that may have been a hasty end call, as some of them will escape but some of them may not. Rose trying to continue this chase onto Nick, doesn't have the movement ability, and Rose will have his dash up soon, but Nick wants to turn this around. Tons of damage coming out onto Rose with that burst, but now being chased by 2 members of the enemy team. Heimdallr here to help turn it around if this comes too far of a chase, but it looks like they're out of immediate danger for now.
Yeah, if they keep chasing that, Menor comes in, they probably win that. Nick's just doing so much damage on this house. 6-0 currently, by the way, has not died. Neither has Slime. Give them 9-0-11 together. Really good play from this mid-jungle duo that they've put together here. And that's something that speaks volumes of how Monkey Business is drafted. I mean, Slime is putting together a team of friends. I know he knows a lot of these players that are on his team. And you can tell their synergy is very, very clean so far. They can tell what they want to do in those team fights. That back 3v3 of Nick, Matt, and Red Danger. Red Danger pretty much lived in that fight because Matt and Nick were just like, yo, we got you, brother. Come to us. We keep peeling for you. That 3v3 peeled very, very well together. The healing, the peel from the Heim, getting the ultimates off, finding really strong ultimates is Red Danger. And the boys are going back in.
He does force the beads out of skills there, but it looks like they're more interested in this tower. This teleport will not be channeled, but it may come out on the tier 2 if Lucio is still interested in joining the fight, which he is. They all have Fire Giant except for Gumbo on the side of Monkey Business. They're going to look to fight under this tier 2. Gumbo forced in, but Lucio down to low health. Camazot's trying to get an ultimate. Hits 2 members, brings them back in, but the Thothalt not on target. It looks like Rose will trade Slime for Lucio. Good trade so far. Gumbo low health as well, but Sneaky caught out in the backline. Will fall as well. That's his first death of this fight, and it looks like it will continue. Nick using that healing to get his team up in health, as well as that Fire Giant continuing to heal them up, and the enemies will have to return to base. So this should be a pretty clean tier 2 after the fact. Rosie taking advantage of those lack of beads on the enemy team. Too foolish to step up from skills, and from Camazot's falling instantly right there, and that might just be the game.
That's my game. They just walk straight through here. They're ending that game. You don't even need this Phoenix, my guys. Just go back in. Lucio's up in 5. This makes this end call a little bit harder, but taking out the Phoenix, nevertheless, they should be able to do it. No ults for either side here, except now Monkey Business does have a couple of them back up, but just not enough. This Titan's going to fall. That defense on that T2 felt really, really odd. I mean, I say it's over, but they're up.
Yeah, close fight here. Titan does fall, but Red Danger falls as well. Sneaky gets traded right back, and so does the Titan. 23 minutes, 10,000 gold, and an XP lead in every single lane. And you do see Monkey Business take game 1 in a dominant fashion.
Very, very dominated by Monkey Business. A lot of people probably not sure how that game was going to go. Looking at the draft, it was kind of clear just the amount of lockdown that Monkey Business put together. If they got off to a hot start, they were continuing, and they get off to a very hot start. They were up 2-0 right off the bat, able to just start running it, snowballed the game very, very well, controlled objectives extremely well, took the fights when they knew they had them. The biggest misplay, I think, from Curse Cowboys was that T2 defense. I think you just got to give that up. Defend on the Phoenixes. They have better lockdown for you. If they can bait you into a fight on that tower, which they did, and they just kind of back off after they get most of your vaults, their healing is much better than yours. They can just re-engage, kill you, and end the game like they did.
We do see the aftermatch charts here. Damage split up pretty evenly between the side of Monkey Business, just like you mentioned, using that teamwork to perfection, executing that synergy, and it looked like the side of Cursed Cowboys was a little separated in several of those fights. Is that a key factor as we move into game 2 here? Is that something that you're looking for them to improve on?
I'd like to see Curse Cowboys come up with something that synergizes better as a comp. I like the comfort picks to an extent, but you have to have more lockdown if you want to do that. If you want to run a Toth, you need to have some more lockdown. Get a better support and put the Cerberus in the solo lane would be a really good start. Maybe pick up something else in the jungler. In the jungle, I don't think Sneaky is your hard to carry as well for this team. Rose could be. If you play through Rose and let your jungler go gank Rose a bunch and just feed Rose, that's a really good idea for a win condition. Really good start. But you got to change your playstyle to fit what your team has.
Well, a dominant performance in game 1 from Monkey Business. We'll see if Cursed Cowboys can bounce back in game 2 right after this break. And welcome back, Smite fans, to RSL Week 1. We just got to see a dominant Game 1 between Monkey Business and Cursed Cowboys. Monkey Business securing that first win. Still on the left side of your screen, looks like Cursed Cowboys have chosen second pick for Game 2, so that's what I'll get your first thoughts on. Do you think there's a huge advantage between the second and the first pick right now in the current meta?
I really do. I think you can trade out characters very, very efficiently right now, especially with a couple, like I'd say there's 4 top mages, there's 1 top hunter, there's 2 to 3 top solo laners, and you could say 2 or 3 top junglers, but right now jungle's kind of just in a weird state as it is, so it's pretty much whatever your comfort pick is there, but you're not really top picking it unless you're getting Gilga Osai. But after this recent nerf of the bonus balance, I don't think they're the top junglers right now. I think it's kind of just whatever works with your team comp. So you're really playing for, if you don't want to play Artemis, you don't want to play against Artemis, remove that and then ban anything else you want, because you can trade out Athena really good, Ymir really good, Osai really good, and they're going to go right back to it just like game number 1. Gumbo's going to lock it right back in. Purse Tiamat you can trade out very, very well. Odin Cerberus, anything like that. There's so many things you can trade out, and getting that second pick spot, really good place.
Well, we'll see if they can make use of it here, as they do lock in the Gilgamesh pretty instantly here. The same bans coming out from both sides, all except for this Athena. Now, coming out of Cursed Cowboy, seems like they did not want to deal with that pick in game number 2 here, and they banned the Gilgamesh in game 1, and this time they're able to take it for themselves. Do you have a sense of whether this might go in the jungle or the solo lane, knowing these players?
I think with the top pick being Sobek, this is most likely going to the jungle. I'm not a fan of Gilgamesh jungle right now. I think he's actually better in the solo lane. I think he brings a lot of utility with his ultimate and just being tankier. Pretty much just being a warrior and being able to do that. Sobek is most likely going to go to Lucio if I had to take a wild guess. Could go to Camazotz as well, and I would probably like to see that better and really look to pick up something late game for a jungle. They left Hell up, and that's where they're able to go right back to for Nick.
Hell had a lot of success last game, ending that game 6-0 near the top of the damage charts, completely dominating several of those fights. But They do switch up the ADC. Heimdallr still on the table, and that's what they chose last time, but it looks like they're opting into the Rama this time. And that could be a response to the lack of an Izanami pick from Cursed Cowboys. That's also up on the board and was first picked last time by the side of Cursed Cowboys, and it looks like they may choose to go away with it or to not go back towards it this time as the Neath gets hovered. I see you nodding over there. Is this another Rose classic?
I wouldn't say it's a classic. It's something he's gone to in the past recent seasons of the RSL. He played it a decent amount last season, played it, I believe, in playoffs as well in regular season a couple times. Something that if you start banning out some of his picks that he would go to, looks like he's leaning towards it a little bit more, not leaning towards that solo that we used to see him play so much, taking off the Izzy. And I think you're exactly right. I think that Rom is just pretty much, he didn't play Izzy, so I'm not locking in Heim here. But I thought the Heim looked really good, and I think Heim's a really good pick. But Rom also very, very strong. Another god that dives well, just not as good peel for this hell, which is what I'm kind of looking at right now. I like Cursed Cowboys draft a lot more just because their lockdown is a million times better. They actually have more lockdown in the first two picks than they did that entire game with what they had on their comp. And now adding a knee snipe into that, they can really dive this hell pretty freely. What's she going to cleanse? Sobek Pluck, Gilgamesh Kick. The knee snipe. Whatever she doesn't, the other three are probably going to hit her and smack her around, and they're just going to be able to lock down some more like high heavy hitting junglers. They take out Circuit and Fenrir, so it's really going to limit what Monkey Business can respond with.
Absolutely. Both bans taken off the table for both teams. As you mentioned, Circuit, Fenrir, both junglers banned out from the Cursed Cowboys. And we get the same two mage bans out of the Monkey Business side this go around. I like what you're talking about there with the lockdown, especially. I mean, Sobek has 3 CC abilities. Gilgamesh has 2 CC abilities, 3 actually, including his one on the slow. Neath has 3 CC abilities. Not all of them are hard CC, but they all are bringing that crowd control. And Hell did look aggressive in several of those team fights last game, oftentimes bailed out by the Heimdallr or by the peel of her own support when Athena wasn't looking for that aggression. But we do see the E set locked in here for Cursed Cowboys, another mid laner we have not seen in quite a while up near the top of the charts, but an interesting pick. She's going to see a buff in the next few weeks when 8.9 drops, but it's not an effect yet. I wonder if he didn't get the memo.
Skills. This is a skills god. It's okay. It makes sense. Also, I really like this as well because it brings more lockdown. She has a good spirit ball as well as a big circle ability, and it looks like Cursed Cowboys are starting to lean more towards that circle ability comp. I wouldn't be surprised if they locked in a Terra bottom pick, ran Sobek solo Gilgamesh jungle, and just went for the big circle abilities, especially if Cerberus does get locked in here. Terra does well into Cerberus pretty much everywhere. Soloing, you could run it. Support, you can run it. Not being able to be picked up feels really, really nice. It's just a really good comp that they've, again, Cursed Cowboys have put together. They lock the Cerberus in, and I would like to see them go probably towards something that's more bursty in the jungle for Slime. Maybe he plays the set this time, or even a Tsukiyomi could be really, really good. Or a Thanatos. Actually, a Thanatos would be really good for him. I've seen him play it before, and I think it could be sick.
Oh, we go a completely different direction as we get the Ares lock in for Monkey Business, but we could see still the Osiris or the Ares flex into that jungle role. There's a lot of room on the table to go, and we see this final lock in the Khepri coming out of Cursed Cowboys. You mentioned you wanted that Terra. Khepri not as much of an aggressor as the Terra, typically known more for that backline support play style as opposed to Terra wanting to get that ultimate onto enemies. What do you think about this pick?
I like it, and I like it because they didn't go Thanatos. Had they gone Thanatos, I'd have been like, look, man, you can't go Khepri here. If this is what they were playing for this entire draft, gotta lock Thanatos the bottom, man. It feels really good. It looks like Slime's gonna get his turn on the Osiris. Gumbo played it well last game. We'll see if Slime can repeat the success that Gumbo had here in the jungle though this time. Cerberus in the solo lane, I would have to imagine an Ares in the support role. I'm not sure how I feel about the Ares quite yet. It does cripple out a good chunk of Cursed Cowboys escapes. It's just going to be up to Red Danger. Are you going to hit your chains consistently? Are you going to have good no escapes? If you're not and you get behind, which this team that Cursed Cowboys has can put you behind very, very quickly. They all have very good level 1s. If you get behind, you're feeling terrible.
One thing I will say is we have some fundamental draft changes on both sides here,
Oh
right? I
yeah.
mean, Cursed Cowboys completely reimagining their draft, putting a Guardian and a passive Guardian over there in the Soul Lane to combat Lucio's maybe lack of success is a kind way to say it from the previous game. And on the side of Monkey Business, their last two picks really redefining their draft because it looked pretty similar in those first three picks, but now we see the Cerberus and the Ares, and I can't help but notice those two large AoE beads burning ultimates against a team composition that does not have any CC immunity in 4 out of their 5 characters.
Really, really good draft from Monkey Business. Shout out to their coach, whoever's calling their draft. That was really good pickups for the Serb in the areas, especially because Serb got all the way to the bottom of this draft without being banned away by Cursed Cowboys. Sure, they took out some lockdown junglers. You want to take out some lockdown junglers, you should be worried about the lockdown peel. I mean, Osai locked in top. That can flex to the jungle. We talked about it. Might not be as good as it was before. I think Osai jungle is going to be just fine when you have Cerberus and Ares.
Well, as you say that, we'll see how the predictions go as we jump now into game number 2. See some typical starts out here, and once again, the first thing I immediately want to ask you about is the builds, but this time I'm going to direct you instead. Okay, I'm going to point to something direct, and I want your thoughts immediately.
Is it the
And
bottom right?
it's going to be that Neath Bluestone, I think, is what you want to talk about.
Yeah, Bluestone pendant underneath Transcendence. I don't think this build is good right now. I think in a week, week and a half, 2 weeks, I don't remember when the patch comes out. The next patch, this is going to be a 6-star. I think Neath is actually going to be one of the best gods for hunters to play. I think the power build is going to be swinging with how Jotuns, Brawlers, Crushers, Titans are going to be. So, same with Heartseeker. Bluestone's going to be good. Trans is going to be really, really strong. I think it's going to look really, really good. We're not there yet. So this is probably just a Rose thing. And honestly, I'm going to predict this now, and you're probably going to yell at me for this. Bluestone going into Trans, the Soul Eater.
Wow. Wow. The Soul Eater prediction coming out of Killjoy. He wasn't right if you remember on the Toxic Blade. So we're going to have to shame him even further if he gets this one wrong, but we'll see how that pans
I'll be
out as
happy
we
if I'm wrong. I would be so happy if I'm wrong though.
so happy as, any other item might have a little bit more success on this Neath pick, but we do see Slime over here trying to make an early impact on this Osiris. We saw him on the Circuit last game, and he looked quite good. Constant disruption out of him, a lot of instant CC on that Circuit, however, and lacking that instant CC on Osiris. Just not the same type of character. We will see some poke here in the dual lane, Rose getting particularly low, but I'll go back to that original question. It's gonna have to be a different play style, or at least a different style of zoning, which he was doing such a good job of game 1, does not have the tools to do that as well here in game 2.
I think they're just going to change how their team plays. I don't think Slime's going to be their zoner like he was on that Circuit where he had just really good plays. It's just going to be Gumbo. Lucio is very far under tower, my friend. You might not want to be there. He has teleport glyph again, so he can come right back to lane and has it up this time. Did go Vamp Shroud, so he has a little bit more sustain than he can, but Gumbo wants to get aggressive, but it's actually Slime who's getting aggressed on.
I'm in a little bit of trouble here in the enemy jungle, but it looks like Sneaky's actually the one forced out once Gumbo tries to join the fight, looking for an early blue invade, and they will secure that out as Lucio stepping up a little bit far, but he does have that pluck to get him to safety under that tower and going to make use of that teleport to get a small item spike over Gumbo in this lane as he doesn't die as early as he did last game. So props to Lucio, already a positive from last game, but despite no kills off the bat here, we see a passive 500 gold lead already for Monkey Business. Just really good farming of the map, it looks like.
Really good farm of the map, good invades for them as well. They just took a blue buff that we watched and got their own farm. I think Duoside invaded that Alpha Harpy for the moment as well. So there's another little bit of extra gold going their way. I think they've had control of both mid camps as well. I wasn't watching too closely, but they got to be careful trying to get the Scorpion.
Looks like they will be under a little bit of danger. That Abduct is a little bit off the target. Red Danger maintains his ability to walk freely down the lane as that ability misses. Could have been under a little bit of pressure there. It looks like they're going to continue trying to put it on themselves despite it being lower HP. That root comes out. Red Danger in some trouble again if Khepri chooses to abduct, but it's just Rose taking this fight. That's like the third time now where we've seen Camazotz tend to focus on Red Danger after he gets that chain off, and Rose just ends up taking a little bit of free poke each time. So we'll see if they do eventually end up being punished for that. But Ares actually blinking in onto the Neath. Low health, does land one chain, and Ramen now rolls in, forces the backflip, but Gilgamesh now on the back end, jumping in, kick slip into the wall, and it will be Red Danger falling for first blood. Good on Khepri to give that kill over to his jungler, and he will fall a level behind because he waited so long in that left lane for the gank, but he does secure that first blood as penance.
Really good start. That helps catch them up into this lead that they had started to accrue. Matt did burn beads there, thinking that dropkick was going on to him. So if the shot selection by Sneaky was a little bit better and they picked the ADC there instead of the support, Cowboys is in a lot better of a spot than what they're already in. I mean, they're still in a really good spot getting that first blood, getting that pick, and putting the support behind, which somebody's already falling behind generally, especially on an Ares. Feels really, really good. It's a really good look. Abduct or Pluck not going to save his life quite yet.
Fantastically timed ultimate by Gumbo as he will tank the tower for a little bit here. Slime trying to finish off this kill. Good heal from Lucio will force them out of the tier 2 tower, yet the tier 1 is not even down, and they're continuing to put the pressure over in the solo lane. It hasn't had the effect they quite want yet. Lucio has not fallen, but he has fallen a level behind so far, and they will secure this Greater Scorpion so far. The Gold Scorpion still remains up on that side of the map. Might be taken down soon, though. We just hit 5 minutes, remember? As Gumbo will also secure his own blue, as Nick gets the beads forced out of him. That was a cleanse. Sorry, I went back and forth there. I wasn't sure. I didn't see it on the ground there, but good cleanse. Good cleanse out of Nick. Thank you so much, production, for pointing out what I missed, clearly. And while we're looking at those relic slots, we'll take a look at the 3 sets of beads that I'm just now noticing, or 3 sets of blinks, excuse me, that I'm just now noticing out of the side of Monkey Business. They really want to get involved here.
I mean, it speaks to their team comp, too. I mean, Slime just wants to go blink because he's an aggressive jungler right now. Gumbo and Red Danger are both on blink-reliant characters. I mean, Ares, blink, no escape. Like, that's the bread and butter of that character. Gumbo on the Cerberus, if he was in the support role, maybe it's a little bit different. You want to go maybe Bracer and Frenzy. Maybe you want to go Sunder on top of something. In the solo lane, I'm going blink every day. I don't have to jump into this thing. I want to be able to jump out of it after I ult. So it really speaks volumes to what their team comp wants to do. I would not be surprised that this one's a little out there, though. Double blink would be cool. Beats forced out from both cursed Cowboys players right there, mid and support, losing them. They do have 4 beats on the side of them. Wouldn't hate a blink on this held. Their team is very blink dive heavy. Blink 3, that's going to do damage.
Those beads burned will take them down, but it looks like Red Danger might be the one in trouble. Falling early was him for first blood, and it might be for him for second blood as well. Sneaky picking up the second kill behind that Gumbo. Coming over to try and help, and he's joined by his team now as well. Slime and Gumbo going to retreat together. Nick was never in any real danger, but a 4-man grouping on the right side of the map for Cursed Cowboys, finally getting some traction going over on that side of the map where we've seen them falter time after time. But that does lead to a red invade for Nick. And what I was going to say as that fight was starting was this Gold Fury Scorpion got taken down just after those beads were burned in the mid lane. And that leads me to believe that we're going to get a rotation over here, and we're going to be looking, specifically the Ares and the Cerberus, going to be looking to use those ultimates, CC heavy ultimates, onto those characters with a lack of beads to potentially get an early Gold Fury fight advantage here.
I picked Sneaky's beads too at some point, and that I missed when those had fallen. They're on a 100-second cooldown right now. So this Gold Fury spawns, you're right. I wouldn't be surprised to see them go straight over to this. Nick's going to take a little bit of poke, but I mean, I was just going to say, he's got a 3-1, man. He's really not taking any poke realistically there, just from the amount of healing that he has. And they have such good positioning. Rose, like 3/4 health match, just kind of keeping Rose in lane from being able to rotate anything. Neath Snipe not going to do any damage. the Gold Fury. So as soon as they want to rotate over to it, Matt comes over. They just pop all their abilities, start running at it. If he goes for a solo kill here though, and they get that, free Gold Fury.
Well, they do have to make a decision here soon if they want to take advantage of this lack of beads, but Cerberus seems completely content over here in the solo lane. It looks like they're going to try and make this rotation instead. Blue buff spawning in just a few seconds. Slime caught between three as a quick solo kill goes down over in the ADC lane, but we don't get a chance to talk about that as Sneaky is in some trouble. Cerberus ultimate coming out, and it may be Slime forced to dive under the tower, but it's another solo kill in mid as the fight we're watching goes on, but no deaths quite yet. No escape, grabbing in three members all pulled in. Kepri ultimate on the right target there is Sneaky, gets an extra life in this fight, still low. Jump comes up, forced over the wall. Still members yet to fall, but Camazotz walks right into Nick to secure the second kill of across the map in that fight, and three will fall for Cursed Cowboys across the map. Or excuse
Two
me,
fell for Cursed Cowboys because
for
Rose
Cursed
got the
Cowboys.
solo kill where he never should have gotten one, my friend. You can't hold wave and then get soloed, my friend. That is not a good look. That feels really, really bad. And then again, on the other side of things, Nick soloed out skills. Really good start for Monkey Business then there too. Lucio's getting dove under his tower. He will fall, and will live somehow at the end of that. But that fight and the 3v3 was just so just like not winning for anybody. And then the two backliners of both teams are just like, yo, we're gonna go duke it out, have fun, boys.
Yeah, three solo kills falling in short proximity across the map there. Rose getting the advantage in the dual lane, and mid lane and solo lane both going to the side of Monkey Business. Is a similar, I think, dominance matchup, or a similar set of dominance we see in game one. Both mid lane and solo lane were 2 levels behind in game one, while Rose was able to keep up with his counterpart. But that seems to be the same here in game number 2. Sobek only 1 level down, but we still see that 2-level deficit in the mid lane. And something I think that's a little bit interesting coming out here that I personally don't see very often is this double flat pen start coming out of skills on the Isis. Is maybe, not starting any percentage pen, and it looks like Hell going a different route, going into that Chronos Pendant to stay out a little bit longer, and then looks like it may be percentage pen following in the item right here. But the double flat pennant and no really utility items, or I mean, you do get some CDR there, but I'll leave it to you. I mean, what are your thoughts?
Skills looks like he's going for some cooldown here. 30% be coming online once that Sands of Time gets upgraded, as Lucio's going to try to confirm his blue buff back with Lurking in the Water. Is not quite going to get it, but Knee Snipe's going to come out.
And Cerberus ult comes out as well. No escape and Cerberus ult on the same targets, and they're both low. Lucio falling low first, but Sneaky might be the one to fall. Both trying to get under their tier 1 tower. Lucio will succeed. Sneaky will not, and neither will Skills, falling as well. But it might be Slime in a little bit of extra trouble here. Camazot's trying to take down this kill, but it's Lucio that'll fall instead. Slime now looking for the triple kill. Confirms it onto Lucio, and will look for the triple onto Camazot's. Forced to ultimate himself right here, but he will keep the chase alive, waiting for that ultimate to finally finish off, and Nick takes it away from him, but 4 members fall for the Cursed Cowboys, and Monkey Business continuing now their dominance from game 1. Even if it took them a little bit longer to get started, that was a convincing fight win.
It was such a good stun by Gumbo 2 off the back end of those beads from Camazotz. Literally last possible second, comes out, hits him right as the immunity runs out. Very, very good play. It's a strong team fight again for Monkey Business. It started off good for Cursed Cowboys. That knee snipe really helps impact this team fight early on, because both these ADCs are still in the dual lane. You're not going to be able to get this value to those Rom snipes quite yet. He's trying to get aggressive once more onto Rose, and looks like he's winning. Goes up to the snipes, and we'll see if he can connect. He's got 1, got 2. Will he find the 3rd to get the solo? Will not connect and take the solo kill.
Does not manage to finish that one off, and Sneaky was over here to try and commit to the Rama if he wanted to get a little bit more aggressive, but he almost turned that one around. He had the opportunity to, and does not manage to do so, as we see KJ celebrating over here, potentially at the tier 1 item that this Neath just built. Could be the Soul Eater. We're on track. Now it will be 3rd item instead of 2nd item. We do see the Jotuns in that 2nd slot, giving some cooldown, some extra power there. But we may just see the Neath choose the, I'll call it correct build path at this point.
I'm just the greatest charity you've ever met. No, I'm just kidding. It's something that Rose has done before. It goes the double stacking with Trans and Soul Eater. I actually really like the Bluestone Trans Jotuns next patch. That is where I think that is going to be such a very strong build. After that, maybe going into something like a Crusher or a Titan's Bane and then getting Heartseeker on top of that. This could also be a Bloodforge and really build into that ultimate that the Gold Fury is now being started up as well. And
Gold
it'll
Fury
go pretty
falling
easily to
very low.
Yeah, that's just gone. There's just nothing there.
No,
There's
Monkey
nothing there.
Business taking that before anybody gets a chance to contest, and it's now Rose in a little bit of a rough spot, forces that blink out from Gumbo, and excuse me, Slime. Good ultimate coming out of Camazotz won't save him for the time being, as they're able to wait that out. And Camazotz now, without his beads, will be pulled back in here, gets the abduct blocked by Nick. Good positioning there, and will be forced out by Nick, forced out of his life. That is, as they do manage to secure that tier 1 tower as well, and now looking for the tier 2.
Might as well. Everyone's over here. You could go to Fire Giant, or you can just run down the left side of the map. Curse Cowboys only have 3 players up. They can see skills under the tower and mid. This T2 on left is free. They're able to back off this and then reset up, and maybe even go for a Fire Giant here 15 minutes in. Their builds are going to be able to go online. They just got that gold free and 2 towers.
Now they do have a 7,000 gold lead right now, and they haven't gotten a chance to spend a lot of it. They've just took down 2 tier 2 or 2 towers. The Gold Fury gotten a couple of kills, so their pockets are full right now. We should see some major item spikes as the enemy's back to base here. Look at that, over 1,000 gold for 4 different members of Monkey Business, but it looks like they're not going to take advantage of that quite yet. Okay, hold that. They heard me say that. They wanted to back, so they'll return to base there as the mid camps aren't up. But we will see a little bit of a lull right now, and I think you might be onto something there with the Fire Giant being the next play of the game, but it depends on how far away we are from that current objective. 15 minutes, even with this lead, is a little bit early to commit to something like that.
This is a little early to commit to, but Slime, Berserkers, Crusher's going to have really good damage output. Gumbo, Mystics, Tyran, they can definitely do some damage on that. You just leave Red Danger to zone as best as they can. Rage is done for Matt. If he gets a couple crits on Fire Giant, they're going to go pretty quickly on it. Rada Tahuti, same build that Nick went last game. It's just going to do the amount of damage they need to. 16 minutes in. It's a little bit harder if they had the E-set on their team, though. Definitely doable.
We do see this Soul Eater pickup finally out of Rose on the Neath. We'll try to get this stacked up hopefully in time for this next fight, which is going to be here at this blue buff. Neath may not be involved, though. It may be Sneaky under attack instead. Now Lucio's switch should be the target of contention, but they aren't able to secure either of those kills, and it may now be Camazotz stepping up a little bit too far. Still lacking those beads, I believe. They just actually came back up recently, but he might not need them in this ultimate. He's going to be forced out from Camazotz, but it looks like the Neath ultimate forced out as well as this Sneaky on the Gilgamesh ultimate. 3 different ultimates forced out of Cursed Cowboys, and nobody falling except for Lucio Horde on this rotation from the Rama, as it looks like Neath has chosen not to rotate. So they're just taking their time, getting the objectives, forcing ultimates out of Cursed Cowboys, and now it looks like they're going to back up for the Fire Giant.
Will guide you through the Reap Smite League is Gumbo in a really bad spot, might get picked out here. You said out, not going to find any damage, and Gumbo should be able to get out just with enough health to group up with Nick and catch some extra healing, which is another reason why they can do this Fire Giant, is they have hell healing. Like, they don't have to worry about anything or anybody getting too low able to do it. Slime trying to turn some damage around, but there are 3 now here, and Lord of the Afterlife makes him go in.
Lord of the Afterlife coming out from Slime as he tries to secure some of these kills. 1v3ing in the backline will not go positively for him as he gets drop kicked as well, but he wants the kill and he will secure it. Skills taken out by Gumbo, and he still has an okay health bar, but the rest of his teammates are not going to join him. Sneaky Dream trying to kill him out, finish the kill here, and he will be able to, I believe, with this last basic attack, chooses the dropkick instead, and 2 members fall, but we do see the Fire Giant go the way of Monkey Business, still on those 2 carries as well, so I still think that's going to have a large effect as we go to sieging here.
And it's on the support too, which I think is probably the 3rd most important player to have it on. Sure, you can argue the jungle, be like, oh, but there's more damage output. The sustain on your support, who will most likely be tanking that Phoenix for you, really beneficial for them. They can get a little bit extra sustain off it as well. And before that fight, really, that like weird back end skirmish broke out, I was going to say, is like, welcome to the Rate Smite League. You have now met Rose. Rose likes to do this where he goes to lane and tries to split push as much of it down. And this is why the Neath is good for him, because he can Neath snipe across the map, be impactful. Didn't get too much value out of that. I think if this Soul Eater was a Blood Forge, it would be more valuable for this god.
I tend to agree, but it may be of value now. That split push got him quite a few stacks on that Soul Eater, already almost finishing that item. I believe it needs 70 stacks, as I do get validated right there, as it does get confirmed. But the Primal Fury also looking to get confirmed here, falling low, and nobody in the area to contest that. Cursed Cowboys will lose that objective yet again, as it goes to the side of Monkey Business. Yet another objective in their pockets, and the only two towers remaining on the map are this mid-tier 1 and the mid-tier 2. And if you recall, the last game was ended on a mid-tier 2 defense by the Cursed Cowboys, so we may see a run-it-back scenario here if they choose to live or die under this tier 1 tower. Cerberus Assault forced out early. Sneaky Dream able to immune it, though. The no escape following, pulling in one member. Sneaky got his beads burned earlier and taken down for the first kill of the fight, as this tier 2 tower will fall. Looks like they're going to push the Phoenix after the fact. Still only 3 members with Fire Giant, but they have the minion wave as well. Lucio not landing the pluck, but Slime will use that opportunity to Lord of the Afterlife into the backline. And Rose falling low, but Lucio falling lower. Rama securing that kill and now looking to secure the Phoenix, as both members, all 3 members from Cursed Cowboys backing up, and they might look for the end here as well.
Could potentially look for the end here. I don't think they will. There's enough poke out from skills, and still having that ESET all really just makes that end call feel really awkward, just because they drop that, you get a lot of damage into it, and then your entire team just gets one shot by one ability. Doesn't feel very good. So going and stripping off the rest of these Phoenixes while there's still a man advantage for you. Really good play by Monkey Business. They'll go ahead and grab this, but if Chris Cowboys try to re-engage, this could be bad.
Slime does fall early on, almost deleted there instantly. Nick trying to use some healing to keep Red Dragon alive, but he will fall as well, and they continue the chase. Monkey Business now on the back foot here. They may have the damage to turn this around, still have the golden experience lead, and there's a 3v4 here if they want to choose to take that route, but it looks like they will just choose to run away for now. Fire Giant not up for quite a while, so not anything for them to grab other than the Pyromancer, which is not a huge objective at this stage of the game. But with 2 Phoenixes down after the fact, even with that Pyromancer, I'm not sure that Cursed Cowboys will be able to defend this next Fire Giant.
It'll be very difficult, and honestly, you might need to just give it. You do have 2 Phoenixes down, but they are both on the right side of the map. Makes this defense a little bit easier to do. If it was the left and the mid, probably all in on this Titan. You gotta get this FG. I'm sorry, you gotta take it away. These right 2, not feeling too bad about it. Maybe you give it. It is only 21 minutes into this game. Emperor Armor's picked up by Red Danger, trying to slow down the Phoenix sieges that they have to do, because there's 1 Phoenix left standing for Cursed Cowboys. So this pickup a little interesting, but it's an aura item and it's an Ares, so.
Yeah, it does give him that extra power with the passive, as you mentioned. So we can take another look at the builds here. Everybody besides Ares, as we get a little bit of a lull in the activity as we're waiting for Fire Giant to spawn here. I think a pretty standard build coming out of the Osiris. If we're going to go a little bit more damage-oriented, that Kin's coming out as a later item, as I've always been a fan of. We do see that 3rd item, Rada Tahuti, as I continue to track this E-set build, is a little bit interesting. Does have that 10% pen, and going into the Obsidian Shard afterwards, she will get that 30% pen total online. So she will have the penetration and the damage. It maybe took her quite a bit of gold to get there now that we're at this stage of the game, but is some potential to come and contest this Fire Giant if you have that E-set ultimate and it's started up. They do have the secure advantage if they get in there, but Fire Giant's already falling quite low. Rama shredding this with the crit so far, already down to half HP. Skills being forced out. Rama forced into the escape right there, but he will secure the Sneaky Dream kill early on in the fight, and they've now forgone the Fire Giant to try and secure some of these kills. Camazot's forced into ulting himself as skills will get quite a bit of damage off in that fight, but uses the ultimate instead of saving it for a little bit later as Lucio, by his lonesome in this backline, gets taken out as well, just not on the same page with his teammates. And now Cursed Cowboy is forced to back up after losing 2 members. They'll give away this Fire Giant.
See how much health they all lost at the start of that fight till the end of this fight? It doesn't look like their health bars changed at all. Monkey Business securing the Fire Giant and the healing coming out of Nick, man. Almost 18,000 done for the mid laner of Monkey Business. This hell pick, something you're probably not to ban out against this guy.
Yeah, getting a ton of value here so far in this game, and did the same thing last game. They just chose not to ban it out, and they are looking for the Phoenixes here, but not a siege on the left lane. Instead, looking to take advantage of these Phoenixes just respawning. Want to guarantee those fall before making another play for the map. They will get that mid lane Phoenix. They'll leave the right Phoenix perhaps to those fire minions, and they will move over to this left lane Phoenix, and this is where the Emperor's Armor critical comes into play. You see that Phoenix lowering its attack speed, but it will be Cursed Cowboys trying to re-engage, forcing Red Danger out. He will fall a little bit low, as will Slime, getting a lot of damage there, but Rose may be pulled back in here, gets the Aegis off, immune some of the damage, but not enough, as he will hold that thought. Skills turning it around. Rose does eventually fall, but Nick now in trouble as well. Skills with a double kill, turning this fight on its head as Sneaky has found his way into Red Danger's front yard and killing him as well. 3 members fall for Monkey Business, a little bit too lax on that Phoenix siege, and end up getting punished heavily for it.
He's still trying to keep the pressure on Gumbo. Good drop kick into the wall. Will fall here as well. Give him a double kill. What a sick defense from Monkey Business right there, Frog. Put it up all on that left-hand Phoenix. And what happened is Slime is taken very, very low to this Gold Fury. He stepped too far forward. Nick and Matt did. They were caught on the corner of that wall between mid Phoenix and left Phoenix. They were the farthest forward for their team, which let them get picked out very, very unfortunately. Good cleanse, though, to start off that for Nick. Was able to get away from that for the moment, but they're already still in a bad spot. But Skills had a huge circle of protections. Dropped that in. Healed Rose up, which kept him alive just a little bit longer to get a little bit more damage out. It still killed somebody. Dropped somebody down, and then he turns around and gets another kill off that, and they turn it around right there, and then they're able to defend the rest of this fight. The rest of the team gets to come in and do all of their damage and get to do what they do best. Their defense is just really good with this E-set ult, and their confirm is as well.
They do confirm that Oni Fury taking advantage of that fight win by getting their first objective of the game as they're fighting back into this one. Several members at level 20 now for both squads. It's only the XP deficit and the support that we're still looking at as we continue to see this ability-based build come out of the Neath, the Heartseeker, built for her in the 3rd item slot. But I still keep looking back at this E-set build. We now have all 3 flat pen items. In fact, all 4 items for that tree. Literally every single item in the tree, plus Rod of Tahuti, plus a little bit of cooldown we're going to see from the updated, likely Pendulum of Ages, I would think, in that final slot as we see that upgraded. She'll have that soon as she is level 20, but an interesting build here, but I can't argue with the top of the damage charts for the E-set, consistently getting off those wing gusts and finally able to find such a critical circle of protection in that last fight. If she can continue to make proper use of that ultimate and not throw it out haphazardly like we saw in that last Fire Giant fight, it can really turn these fights on its head.
I like the build that Skills has gone for to a degree. At least I kind of wish he would have gone maybe for the Chronos Pendant instead of that Deso, because you really want to get one good circle of protections off near mid to end stages of that fight, because if it's going off and you get a bunch of kills, it's going to be back up, but if you get a full deicide, do you really need it back up in the next, 30 seconds or so? If there's timers longer than it's going to be up anyway. Maybe they go, the Chronos is there, Divine really good because, he applies really well with the Wind Gust, we talked about earlier. Same thing for Magus. Both those items really, really good for E-set. Rada Tahuti, they very strong item when they get low. Abshard, I think, is the best pen item for mages currently after the Karen's nerfs have come through. I like this build. I think there could be a little bit of tweaking, but again, it's working for him and it's doing really well, so I'm not going to change anything about it.
No, I'm with you. He is definitely having an effect and has had one in these last several fights here, but we are almost seeing a complete reset of the map state at this point. We're going to get both Phoenixes respawned for Monkey or for Cursed Cowboys. Those will likely get back up to an at least okay amount of HP, especially that middle Phoenix by the time this Fire Giant comes up, and that Titan will heal quite a bit. We do see the pings out on this Fire Giant, and Lucio actually up here without his team may put them into a bad spot. Trying to fall or trying to get away early does get those beads forced out, unfortunately, so he won't have those for the next fight. And
Oh,
Skills taking a
a
ton of
lot.
damage, and it will be the Kepri ult forced out. Actually missed that, trying to get on the enemy, and Neath ult gets forced out as well. So two ultimates from the side of Cursed Cowboys forced out, as well as Skills now forced to be late towards this Fire Giant. They may still try and defend this if they can, though. Shredding down fast. It's already at half HP. Gumbo doing a great job of zoning, has every member of the enemy team focused on him, and that Fire Giant falls quickly. That forces him into the ultimate, and he will back up. We're going to get another siege here on the right side, Phoenix.
Also got Skills' ult in that push there. That was Kepri and Skills dropping their ults to try to peel out Skills with so much damage from Nick there, which is a credit to his build too. He's got Magus Deso as well, but he's got the Chronos a little bit earlier on. His pen's kind of lacking, really just only in that Ratatouille, but I guess he's just trying to blow up those backliners. Cursed Onk popped by Camazotz. I think that's a really good pickup here. Phoenix still standing just barely. I do want to point out that the pen for Cursed Cowboys is a little bit better than Monkey Business. Both backliners and Monkey Business only have an effectively about 10% pen in their builds. So they gotta be careful who they're hitting.
On Gumbo now lacking that ultimate. Sneaky, the first one to jump in, does not get grabbed by this. No escape though, and he's causing chaos. Gets taken down for it though. Kepri lacking that ultimate, isn't able to save him. Finally comes back up, used it to save himself, and Skills will fall because of it. But Kepri survives, perhaps not the best decision, as Lucio will fall as well. Rama picking up that double kill and the Phoenix, and it's going to be a push for the end. Titan starting to fall a little bit here, but it looks like Skills trying to survive as well, or excuse me, Nick forcing some damage onto the enemy. Rose still alive, but the Titan not so much, as he will fall low enough, and the game ending here will be Monkey Business taking the 2-0 in this set.
I think it's another scuffed defense for Cursed Cowboys. You can't engage outside of your Phoenix if you aren't the team with Fire Giant. If you're defending under your Phoenix and you have Fire Giant, oh yeah, every day of the week you have the advantage. There's everything that's going right there. It seemed like a very, this is all or nothing right here. The only part of the team was all in. Rose in the back line. I don't even think if the ult got off, I didn't quite catch that, was full health, full mana at the end of that, all the way up until the Titan throne room. His entire team was gone. It looked like they were trying to all in right there, try to find as much damage as they could. They just could not find it there at the end. Really good play by Monkey Business. Two really dominating games by them, if you ask me, and it looked really good.
Yeah, it just looked like they had some success on that one Phoenix defense over in that left lane, but every time they didn't go for that left Phoenix, Monkey Business were the ones finding success. And still some disjointed plays out of Cursed Cowboys. Sneaky Dream specifically looking for maybe a little bit too much solo fun in that last team fight, trying to take on 5 members by himself. Unfortunately, his team still under the Phoenix. So we do see some back and forth there, and we do see some positives, I think, from both teams going into the later weeks here. Remember, this is only week 1. Tons of time to turn this season around for Cursed Cowboys. Only 1 loss here, and tons of time to lose that 1-0 victory, lose that undefeated victory for Monkey Business. So we do see some shades of good, shades of bad from both teams. I'm wondering, what are you looking for, I think, going into the future of the league? What are you excited for these teams?
I'm really excited to see how Cursed Cowboys grow. I think this team has a lot of potential. I think they can make a few adjustments, and this team could be one of the top end teams. I mean, I've said it before in a couple other places. A couple role swaps, if they wanted to, would make this team insanely good. I think if they just stuck with this, they just play to their strengths, play to where they like and where their leads will go. Know where your carries are, know where your uncarries are. You know what I'm saying? Like, not to say anybody's not a carry, but maybe you switch to be more facilitator out of the solo lane. I mean, solo lane is still a facilitator role, but maybe you change it up and maybe you want to play through the solo lane. Maybe that's your hard carry now. Build a comp for that. I think they have a lot of room to be flexible. I mean, they did it in this game too. They had one team comp game 1 and a completely different comp game 2, and I think I really like the switch up and the flexibility that this team brings. I'm very excited to see them go through the rest of the season. Monkey Business just looked really clean. I'd like to see them keep it up through the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Positives from both teams. Monkey Business does walk away with the 2-0 victory, and that'll do it from us here tonight. My name has been Frog. Killjoy has joined me on the cast. But
we're not done yet, my guy.
We're
We
not
still
done.
have an interview.
We have an interview. Who is joining us for the interview? Do we know?
We will find that out right after.
Fans, after that quick, dominant 2-0 from Monkey Business, we do have one of their players joining us for an interview. Killjoy, take it away.
Welcome in, everybody. I've got Nick here. We're going to call him the Hell One Trick for right now because he's played one game of the season. This is his RSL debut, and he's played, one god. So, Hellmain, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Very dominated performance out of you. So first of all, congratulations on your 2-0 victory. How are you guys feeling after that win?
We're definitely feeling good. I mean, we had a strategy just to pick Hell and then play around that because she's pretty OP right now. She does a whole bunch of damage. So if I just win early, then we're just chilling. And they didn't ban Hell's second game, so that's the same thing we did.
I mean, yeah, that's completely fair. It's like, hey, this is the team comp. Let's run Hell, and you guys get it. And you looked really good both games. Going from game 1 to game 2, you guys had a lot more lockdown than they did in game 1. Whereas game 2, they brought a completely different draft out at you guys. Were you really just taking it back at the amount of flexibility that they had, or were you guys kind of just like, okay, cool, they got more lockdown. We're just gonna do the same thing we did last game?
I mean, yeah, for sure. We saw that they had a whole bunch of lockdown and a whole bunch of secure with Isisol and stuff, but they didn't really have too many CC immune ults. So if we just had an Ares and a Serb just to burn beads, it'd be pretty easy just to kind of keep them in place and then just out damage them. Basically win every fight.
Really good draft that you guys put together too. Bottom picking a Cerberus and an Ares into 4 gods that had no CC immunity. I'm sure comms are probably pretty funny when you guys got those. Just having a good old time as well. Everyone played really well on your team. Any shout outs specifically that you'd like to make for your guys?
Nothing in specific. I just want to, congratulate the whole team. It's definitely made it better for me to play because, especially since this is my first time kind of playing competitively, and I'm just enjoying it a lot. So it's just a whole bunch of fun.
Really awesome. Congratulations, you guys, on a nice 2-0 victory. You guys will be able to see them play next week as well. They'll be playing in their week 2 matchup. But that is all I have for the interview. Once again, congratulations. Thank you for joining me. Frog, you take it back.
Thank you so much, Killjoy. Thank you so much, Nick, and congratulations once again on that win. That'll be it for us on the cast. My name has been Frog. His name has been Killjoy. Make sure to join us back again tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern for Bully Busters versus Bargain Bunch. Lot of B's in that sentence, but it's bound to be a good match. Bound to be a good battle. I had a chance there, and I
like
just
that. You messed it up.
I messed it up, but it's okay. We'll throw it to the end of the stream. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.